Level 1 is where almost everyone starts. Your money runs out before the month does. Not because you're reckless, because nothing is structured. Everything is reactive. You pay what's due, spend what's left, and hope nothing unexpected appears. But something always does. The emergency fund doesn't exist, so every emergency becomes debt. And debt makes the next month harder than this one. This is the trap of level 1. It's not that you earn too little. It's that without structure, even a raise disappears the same way the last paycheck did. The exit from level 1 is not a raise. The exit is awareness. You have to see where the money goes before you can change where the money goes. The number that comes back is usually uncomfortable. That discomfort is the beginning of the exit. Level 2 feels different immediately. You have a buffer. Your accounts are separated. The month doesn't feel like a countdown anymore. This is where most people make a mistake. They feel stable and they upgrade. The lifestyle upgrade at level 2 is the most dangerous move you can make because it feels earned. It feels like a reward for getting the basics right. It isn't a reward, it's a trap. A bigger apartment means a bigger rent that makes every future decision harder. Level 2 is not about upgrading your life. It's about building the foundation underneath it. 3 objectives, in order, no skipping. High interest debt first, because nothing you invest will outperform a 20% credit card rate. The emergency fund second, 3 months of expenses untouchable. Investing third, because time in the market matters more than the amount. At level 2, the game is not excitement. The game is holding the line. Most people abandon level 2 because it's boring. Nothing changes visibly for months. Level 3 is where wealth actually begins. You have no high-interest debt. You have a cushion. And now, for the first time, you're investing consistently. This is where most people plateau. They invest a fixed amount, feel like they've done the right thing, and stop thinking about it. The mistake at level 3 is treating investing as a destination instead of a rate. Every raise you get should increase your savings rate, not just your lifestyle. If your income goes up 10% and your savings rate stays flat, you've lost ground relative to your potential. The target at level 3 is a 20% savings rate, not because 20% is magic, because it's the threshold where compound interest starts doing meaningful work within a decade. A simple 3-fund portfolio outperforms 90% of actively managed funds over 20 years, not because the strategy is sophisticated, because it stays invested and keeps fees near zero. The compounding at level 3 is invisible for years. Then it doesn't look like almost nothing anymore. The people who stay through the boring part are the only ones who see the other side. Level 4 feels different from anything before it. Your money is working harder than you are. The compound effect has stopped being theoretical. This is where the psychology shifts. At levels 1 through 3, money is something you manage. At level 4, money becomes something that moves. The trap at level 4 is complacency. The accounts are growing, the debt is gone, life is comfortable, and comfort is where ambition goes to disappear. The people who move through level 4 do something different. They increase the rate. Every income increase at level 4 gets split, half to lifestyle, half to investment rate. Because the goal at level 4 is not to live like you're at level 1 forever. It's to build toward a point where the investment income could cover your base expenses. That number, whatever it is for your life, is the level 4 target. Not retirement, not stopping work, just the point where working becomes optional. Level 4 ends when passive income covers your essential expenses, the floor, the part you need to survive without a job. Level 5 is not a number, it's a condition. You don't have to work, you choose to. Most people never experience this, not because they couldn't have built it, because they never understood that that was the actual goal. They thought the goal was the salary, the car, the title. Level 5 is where the decisions change entirely. You stop optimizing for income and start optimizing for time. Not because money doesn't matter anymore, because you've built enough of it that trading time for a marginal income increase stops making sense. The financial structure at level 5 is defensive. You've moved from accumulation to preservation. The portfolio is designed not to grow maximally, but to sustain indefinitely. Level 5 is also where the biggest psychological shift happens. The identity built around work becomes optional, and optional is terrifying for people who never planned for it. The people who navigate level 5 well have been building identity outside of work for years. The people who struggle arrive and discover that freedom without direction is just a different kind of drift. Level 6 is not for everyone, not because it requires genius, because it requires a specific kind of patience that most people, even at level 5, have never developed. At level 6, your own finances are handled. Now you're thinking about systems, structures that create value for other people while also working for you. This is the level of ownership. You're not building a salary, you're building equity, a stake in something that exists beyond your hours, a business you own partially but don't run daily, a real estate portfolio managed by someone else, a fund with your capital alongside others, things that earn while you sleep, not because of market returns, because systems you built or invested in are operating. Level 6 is also where tax architecture becomes essential. The difference between how money is structured can mean millions in preserved wealth over a decade. The income at level 6 is no longer salary, it's distributions, dividends, revenue share, things that don't require your direct presence to arrive. The trap at level 6 is complexity for its own sake. Level 7 doesn't look like anything from the outside. No visible markers, no announcement. The people at level 7 are not identifiable by what they display. They're identifiable by what they don't need to. At level 7, the relationship with money has completed its transformation. It started as survival, then stability, then freedom. Now it's simply a tool. The financial structure at level 7 is generational by design, not because wealth was the goal, because preservation over time requires structure that outlasts any individual decision. The conversations at level 7 are not about returns, they're about risk. What risks would actually matter? What requires a structural response versus what can simply be absorbed? Most people imagine level 7 as freedom from all constraint. It isn't. The constraints just change. You're no longer constrained by money. The cost of level 7 is relational. The circle of people who understand your actual situation narrows sharply, not because you've become unreachable, because the context required to understand the decisions you're making becomes specialized. And somewhere, in a small apartment, at a kitchen table with bills, is someone starting at level 1. They don't know yet what the levels look like, but the path is there. It has always been there. The only variable is whether anyone shows them the map. 7 levels, 1 path, completely accessible to anyone willing to start at level 1 and stay through the boring parts. The question was never whether you could get here. The question is whether you start. Vault Levels. New episodes every week.